guys, got our modded Escalade project here. Baseline a couple weeks back. Bone stock with just some light tune modifications on it. We did 370 wheel, 404 pound-feet of torque.
So this is the deal with the Escalade. This is my wife's car, and we have 5 dogs. We got 2 kids that are getting a little bit older. We needed a bigger vehicle in order to be able to take our dogs and our kids wherever we're going and such. She doesn't know it yet, but we're gonna modify it. We've had it for about a year. We haven't really done almost anything with it. About a month and a half ago, we put on an AFE cold air intake. Definitely helped out a little bit, but my wife's been jonesing for a lot more power. My wife used to have a CTSV 2, and we made about 640 wheel with it, and we went pretty fast. It was about 11.0 at 131 with that car, and then we sold that, and then we got a Cadillac ATSV. That thing made about 600 wheel horsepower and still holds the fastest ATSV record in the world, and that car was a manual as well. She's been used to these pretty quick cars for a while, and this 5,600 pound pork chop just isn't really cutting it, especially it being stock. So we're gonna put on headers, we're gonna port the intake manifold, and we're gonna put on a flex fuel sensor. We have future plans with it. We'll probably do heads cam next, and then we might do an LT4 blower. So the thing with the LT4 blower is that nobody's done that yet. It doesn't fit on here. You have to change a bunch of things in order to make it fit. So I'm really excited about doing that. We do specialize in superchargers at Fasterproms. It's gonna take some major modifications in order to get that LT4 blower on here, but this is where it starts. You guys ready to make some power?
Alright, so about 2 months ago we had baselined this thing at about 370 wheel and about 404 torque. So what we're doing right now is going to be pulling the intake manifold and throttle body, and going to be trying to squeeze out as much as we can. We're also thinking about putting a flex fuel sensor in there. Typically what we see on a flex fuel sensor on a direct injection car is usually at least about 20 wheel horsepower. The AFE cold air intake and the headers that we have on there, we were able to kind of bump her up to about 401 horsepower, and about 444 torque is the best so far. So we got a pretty solid baseline as to what we've done with the tune. We're gonna see what we can eke out of it a little bit later. All right, so we just, after we ported the intake manifold, we did a couple pulls on it. Air fuel was a little bit off, which indicates that it did pick up airflow. We did see that on the dyno. We actually went from 401 horse to 409 horse, and the best we made was about 448 torque, so we picked up about 4 pound-feet of torque down low. It was a decent pickup. We were hoping for a little bit more, but I just threw the E85 in here. Now we're gonna make another couple pulls and see what she does with the E85. Okay, so what we had done with our baseline on a LT1 powered, 6.2 liter Escalade, completely stock, we had done 370 wheel horsepower and 404 pound-feet of torque. And we kind of reestablished our baseline with our cold air and our headers. And what that was 401, 444. That's kind of what we had started with today. Ported the intake manifold, we got about 409, and actually that's a little bit of a mess up there. We got about 444 torque. You can kind of see we had a breakup in the tack lead there, but we had 448 torque was actually the best number on that. Then we threw the E85 in there, and this is kind of all stuff that we would normally do on our vet. If we had an LT1 vet, that would be what we're doing, is that we would kind of do the port the intake manifold, do the cold air, do the headers, and do the E85. And I was hoping for 430, but heck man, 422, I mean 422 and 471 pound-feet of torque, that's the big number right there. And you can see that just the loads of torque over there really helped out. So this is a 4th gear pull, and we're pulling about 105 miles an hour. I think in 5th gear it would probably throw down a little bit bigger of a number, but I'm just trying to keep everything fair with the way that we had dynoed it before on our fourth gear pulls a couple months back. So definitely pleased with 422 horsepower, 471 pound-feet of torque. This big girl, despite weighing what she does, is going to get out of her own way, and we'll see if she can burn the tires. We'll find out a little later. After driving this girl, really ain't too bad for a 5,600 pound overweight hippopotamus. She gets down.